explaining at sort of a deeper level of what automation means to me. I think, you hear me preach it, any which way but loose about how important using a machine mindset is to drive everything to automation. You want to design and automate it because then you can drive it to optimization, and greatness is found in optimization and use systems. I use a machine method to create businesses and a rhythm of existence to manage my life, and I have system on system on system because I automate this. I automate television. I track all of my time and manage everything super diligently, and you can look at my calendar and every single hour is filled out in the past, and looking into the future, almost every single hour is planned out, and it's not nearly as rigid as you would think. A systematic approach to relationships.
A systematic approach to relationships and finances.
Kill Bubba Jackson. Kill Bubba Jackson. I am placing a bounty on Bubba Jackson. Kill Bubba Jackson.
Size is irrelevant.
Good afternoon, everyone. Probably evening, actually, when I release this. I am here to do the check-in AMA post because, these always feel like kind of low ball or, low-hanging fruit type of videos to make. But at the same time, I haven't made one of these for quite some time, and I get a lot of questions like in DMs and shit, and in the stream, people are always asking me like haphazard, random shite. So I thought maybe if I just did a little check-in with everybody, this might be the best way of going about this. So yeah, I'm just going to read. I'm going to be ignoring most of these. That's just the truth of it. There's no getting around that. But I'm going to read any of them that kind of interest me. So we'll start off with Mackle. Why don't you have an earring? I think the truth is why I don't have an earring is first of all, I'm not that guy. I'll never be that guy. I just can't pull it off. I'm not really handsome enough. And I think I went to a high school. This is going to get kind of long here, but I went to a high school where there was this dude, and he would try to cancel my friend Colin and I. He would talk shit about us behind our backs. And he would try to get girls to, be afraid of us or some shit, or be skeptical of us as if we were some sort of, sexual deviant pest guys just because we weren't parroting whatever the current social movement was at the time. Like, if I didn't make my profile picture a black square on Instagram, then that was some shit that would be held against me. But the dudes who do that, these are the earring type wearing dudes. The dudes that do that are the ones that are the real freaks. Those are the guys that you actually got to cover your drink around and be careful of. And it turns out later on down the line, I found out that this dude he was doing some really sketchy shit with girls. One of them I knew personally, and she told me about it. And I was like, I always knew, the guy who's white knighting, spreading secrets about other dudes. He's the scary one, and that's an earring guy trait, if you ask me. So, never been an earring guy. When's your next tier list video? I think it may be time. I can't tell if this is a good idea or not, but it might be time to update some of the classic tier list videos. Like shoes, pants, etc. But, then again, I also don't want to be retracing my footsteps too hard. So, but I feel like I change it up enough kind of to warrant doing that. I'm also, let's be honest, I'm the king of the tier list. Many have tried. Nobody's tier listing like me. I'm just the best tier lister. So if anybody should return to tier lists, it's probably me. Is Trung on Sci-Fi? I saw he posted something from Sci-Fi on Instagram. He's just getting boards. Yeah. Well, Zach is already on the team, which I guess just means he gets more decks in his box, and goes on trips with the team. So, yeah, he's just getting boards. There's quite a few people that are getting boards right now. Frankie Heck's getting boards too. There's a lot of sci-fi boards floating around. Have you skated this? I guess this kind of applies to any skate events. This David is asking if I'm going to the Bun Jam. Probably not. I don't really go to skateboard events. And there's a question later on here. I saw the notification on my phone that's asking, what are you going to do when you make too many friends in the skate industry? Well, this is exactly kind of the thing, the quandary, or the quagmire of being a skateboard YouTuber. As from my perspective, I've got to be able to have like a fresh mind and kind of an unbiased viewpoint when it comes to all these dudes. And there was a video Fuck You ZZE made about me where he was like, that's cope to say that you can't be objective about people that you know. And it's like, is it? Like, how would you know? To some degree, like people that you care about in real life that you form personal connections with, you're gonna want to stick up for them a little bit more. So, until you actually know that, I mean, it's like I've done this spiel before, but it's a complicated industry. The more people you know, they know those people, and all of a sudden you've got a connection because you know 10 people to every single fucking person in the skate industry. Ryan Lay, I know him. He's been on 1,000 teams. He knows 1,000 people because he's had 1,000 sponsors. So yeah, it sucks because part of me would like to go to these events because they seem like fun, but the other part of me kind of knows that I'm better off just keeping to myself. And that's what I'm paid to do. You guys don't I know you guys like it when I go and do shit and I make vlogs and stuff. But I have to strike the right balance. I have to be smart about it. I can't be an idiot and start going to every single skate event and become buddy-buddy with all these pros because it's not my job to be their buddy. Or also end up like Gary Rogers, starting a podcast where I'm just egregiously glazing every guest. He's talking to Kevin Bradley, telling Kevin Bradley how incredible he is and justifying him not putting out parts. Oh, it's because you're so picky. No, dude, it's because he's an alcoholic and a fucking pothead, and we all know it. So what's the point in saying otherwise? The last thing I want to end up is, being like a skateboard industry hack like that, and people will still defend Gary Rogers. That's fine. He's doing the crap that he's doing, but that is far from, what I think needs to be said in skateboarding. It like at the moment right now, it's kind of, things are getting a little dark again.
Size is irrelevant.
How's the sci-fi video going? When do you think it's coming out? And do you think anyone is going to turn pro after it? Good question regarding the pro thing. I got probably another week or two on my ankle until it's good. And then I'm like, okay, I got to start trying, because I have plenty of footage, but I just want more. I need more, because the more that I have, the more I'll have to choose from. And some of it's been so long that I'm like, do I even really want that clip anymore because of how old it is? So I'm motivated. It's kind of like I haven't been injured at all for so long, and it's barely just like a bitch ass, month and a half, 2 month ankle sprain. But once the ability to skateboard is kind of yanked away from you, you don't take it for granted as much. So I'm gonna start hitting Luke up on the regular, and we're gonna go out on some missions and hopefully make my sci-fi part as good as it can be, because I'm always in a weird position where I'm not as good as anybody else, and that's just like the truth of it. Anybody that is like in a position sponsor-wise that is adjacent to mine, even though I don't get paid off of any of this shit, I'm still, kind of in the mix somewhat, so to speak. I just want to do as best as I can, but I always have that kind of in the back of my head where I'm like, I'm never gonna, actually be competitive with any of the people that I'm skating with. So yeah, that's kind of just like, you could look at it like, and think, well, why even try? Or you could look at it and think, well, that means you got to, do the best you possibly can. And that's the angle that I'm choosing to approach it from. What made me decide to be part of the sci-fi team? Seems like the idea of going pro, etc. What's the goal of that? It's never been, it's never really gone any further than I just want to skate with people, and there's fun opportunities going on trips, and it's a good opportunity to make videos and vlogs, do Q&As and shit. Jerry's really cool. And he's always felt like, ever since I think he saw a couple of clips of me, he was always like scouting me somewhat. And, I don't fucking know why, but he's, like I said, he's in the Vice video. He said it's not because of my YouTube channel. Again, you can decide that for yourself, but yeah, I'm just going with the flow. I mean, the question I get this asked all the time is like, well, would you want to go pro? Like, if you got offered a board, would you say yes? And I still don't think that would be the right idea. I just don't think it would be the smart move. I know there's money involved, and it would probably make some financial sense to do so. Like, outside of the ethics of it, would Jerry want me to be pro? I don't know. I've always felt like it would be too disrespectful to the people that are actually, really good skaters that have spent a lot of time working towards this shit. Do you know what I mean? And what I spend my time working on, I've tried to get as good as I can at skateboarding. When I was a kid, I did my best, but I've never had like the talent that would be required, and I've always known that. So I would view it as kind of being disrespectful to people that kind of deserve it more than I do, and that's really all that it comes down to. Okay. Serious question. Does Jeff really not have a clue that he is the laughing stock of the skateboarding community right now? Fucking savage, bro. Do you ever see him get mad that we don't see... do we ever see him get mad off camera? And does he enjoy it for the rage bait clicks? Oh my God, Tyler, what are you talking about here, man? I don't know, man. Jeff's a complicated... He's a complicated individual, He obviously... still, maybe he loves skateboarding so much, and that's why he's still doing it. He doesn't seem to get, like, it's never seemed to really sink in. He has not absorbed or actually processed what it is about his skating that is objectionable to people, which is obviously his terrible style, just in every sense of the word. He has nothing going for him in the style department. He has a completely unique way of flipping his board. I think Jeff's whole existence is kind of frustrating to him, frankly. I think he's frustrated by his treatment in the skate industry, and that video I watched on stream by that dude with like the medieval peasant haircut. I don't even remember his name, where he interviewed Moose and was trying to paint this narrative about the skateboard industry being completely unfair. I mean, I think Jeff would love to do an interview like that. Are you going to drop the concept of between two bushings, since the more people you meet and get to know, the more compromises you have to make with your content? Nah, I'll probably still do it. Dan Corrigan investigation / hate vid? Maybe. I just don't, like, I don't know. The thing is, with this stuff, I would just be bringing up so much hearsay. And the person who told me that Dan Corrigan was DMing them when she was, a teenager, then I have to drag her and involve her into something that she doesn't want to be involved with, and that's a huge element of this whole Dan Corrigan pervert thing that is going on. And that's not my decision to make. Like, if she wanted to get Dan Corrigan, then she would, but I'm sure she probably doesn't want the attention for that. So it's not really for me to decide when something like that would happen. I've referenced it on stream, and that's probably where it's going to stay unless something else happens. But I'm not going to... The thing is also, like, I'm not going to go out of my way to destroy Dan Corrigan. He's really not worth it. He's basically a cockroach in skateboarding, doing daily vlog uploads, living off scraps, changing thumbnails to try to get kids to click on his shit. And I know, it is frustrating that people really like him and think that he's like a great guy, like the way Ben DeGrosse talks about him. And he's like, oh, Dan's such a good dude. I'm like, oh man, he really is not, Ben. And that's always kind of bugged me, that people regard him in as this really personable and kind, genuine dude, but it's just not on the list of agendas on topics right now. And I know a lot of people would like it because they don't fuck with him either, but graduating from high school, what do I do? I mean, again, I'm not the right person to ask. I don't even know how my life is a total. I was not good at any of the jobs I did. I wasn't a good student either. I went to community. I wasn't even good at that. Honestly, I think I was pretty decent at art, but like, how the fuck do you ever make that kind of thing work? How do you I was into film photography, and painting a little bit. What was I going to do with that? I liked it, and I'm really glad I spent all the time that I did doing it, but I have no idea what you should do, Emmett. I wish I could tell you. It's I would say fuck around for a bit and then maybe try to get serious. I think everybody in their late teens, early 20s needs to blow off some steam. You need to live your life, hang out with your friends, go to parties, and do all that shit. I think that's like an important part of developing into like a relatively chill dude. I'm not saying you need to get addicted to drugs or some shit, but just go out there and socialize and live that part of your life. There's a reason a lot of people do it. I think, this isn't the case always, but some people that skip out on that part, they're just kind of lame. And it's because they didn't have like funny experiences that give them insight and perspective into, absurd situations and shit. Do you have any style influences in terms of fashion? I always thought your outfits are hella dope. Well, thanks. I feel like my fits are ass, or honestly, and I'm like, I think this is maybe just a symptom of skateboarding fashion in general right now, where it doesn't feel like anything is going anywhere. But I don't know what I'm doing. Like, basically, I wear jeans and a t-shirt, so I want to step up my fucking swag game. But at the same time, I don't even feel like I have a body that looks good in clothing, or not in clothing for that matter. But some people, just like model types, you can put them in a small shirt, or you can put them in a double XL shirt, and they just look cool as fuck no matter what. Dude, that is not me. Not me at all. I look terrible in fucking everything. It's so difficult for me to find a t-shirt, a blank style. And even if it's two of the same blanks, sometimes one of them will look good on me and the other one just won't. It's kind of tough for me, man. No real style influences. I think I just dress kind of like a basic skater for most of it. For generally speaking. Obviously, I was pretty like irony pilled at one point, and maybe not so much anymore. But yeah, dude. Thoughts on wheelbase? Paul Shitsticks recently said if you're over 6 foot, you should be riding a 15-inch wheelbase. Can Paul Schmidt even hard flip? And was using Cordano as his example. A lot of my buddies swear by the deluxe True Fit shit like 13, 7.5, 14-inch wheelbases on 8.5s and up. I rode an 8.38 with a 14.2, and I think it's perfect. But I remember you saying you won't ride a limo because the wheelbase is too short. What's your ideal dimensions? I've been riding a sci-fi board, and this kind of actually sucks about being sponsored a little bit, is that I don't try... it's terrible being sponsored, but I don't try all these different products that are coming out, I used to buy all sorts of different boards and shapes and have opinions on all of them, but I've been riding the Sci-Fi 8.5 14.5 inch wheelbase now, the generator board, just the standard shape, for like 2 years or something. So I'm basically... and been skating pretty much the same shoes. I'm basically completely alienated from any type of gear conversation, unfortunately. Fortunately and unfortunately, because obviously it's cool to not have to... It's a good thing to not have to worry about that. Skateboarding is really double-edged in that way, where you have all these options. You get to explore all of the pros and the cons and the ins and the outs, and the benefits and the drawbacks of each different fucking last centimeter on a particular skateboard, or what shoe kind of like flicks and which one just fucking doesn't last as long. It's all of these things. It's called the madness, obviously. Reynolds has that shit. He's always tinkering with boards, but when you have the ability to choose, it can fuck with you. With great power comes great responsibility. So it's kind of like if you go into an ice cream parlor and you're looking at 40 different ice cream flavors, and you're like, oh fuck, which one do I pick? Well, last time I got cookies and cream and it was pretty good, but like I kind of want to try something new because I'm here again. But then again, like, what if I fuck up and get the wrong thing? And then I think a lot of the time most people would probably just be happier if they walked into a fucking ice cream shop and there were 3 options, like chocolate, vanilla, and coffee, some shit like that. So basically, I've been on coffee ice cream only, and I have 0 complaints. Yeah, you sound like you're tripping balls, is what I'm saying. Varial Flip Swag. Is Trung getting a part in the sci-fi video? No, I don't think so. Also, I just got a Prius. Varial Flip Swag, the gear psycho. As a fellow Prius driver, how do you cope with the fact that if some angry guy in a truck wanted to, he could just flatten us? I mean, you are a target in a Prius. And I saw a TikTok about this recently that was mocking Prius owners. It was like, Prius owners, how do you guys sleep at night knowing that everyone fucking hates you on the road? And it's like, it's not that bad. Like, I'm saving a bunch of money on gas. Yes, my car, I have a pussy car. You just can't care. Like, don't buy a Prius if you care. And I think a lot of the time in my head, the people that are taking shit extremely personally on the road, like the guys in trucks, it is usually guys in trucks like, this fucking Prius. It's like I'm driving here, dude. You know how a Prius is probably gonna behave. I think I'm a relatively conscientious driver. Just behave like a Prius. Don't try to compete with other cars. Drive defensively. Drive the bitch car that you have. And you can be satisfied knowing that you're spending half the money on gas that everybody around you isn't. Just fucking be in the far right lane, dragging ass on eco mode. Who fucking cares? If you drive your Prius and you're a problem for other people, it's probably because you're not driving your car like a Prius. Would you ever do content in Seattle? It sounds like I'm going to go to Seattle and fuck all the local Seattle bitches. Would you ever do content in Seattle? Do you know any skaters in the city? I don't think I know. Sell me on Seattle, King DK. What the fuck is in Seattle besides you, I assume? Because right now I don't even know anything about Seattle, so I have no reason to go over there. Do you think the low impact slappy style is going to prevail and evolve, or do you think skating is going to get gnarlier? I would think Toby Ryan, the Grom that saved skateboarding, he's fucking gnarly. So I think slappy stuff also is kind of popular because there's an aging demographic of skateboarders who want to keep skateboarding, and slappying is kind of what they do. But if you're asking me, like, do I think there's going to be like an Aiden Mackey 2.0 that comes out right now? I kind of hope not. And a lot of these kid edits that I see of these children cosplaying as slappy skaters and shit, I'm just kind of like, I think you've got the order wrong. You know what I mean? I think that you should push yourself to learn fundamentals and learn basic shit, and then once you've got like a solid kind of foundation for your skating, then go off and try some hipster crap. And I know there's a question in here about advice for Groms, and this is probably going to kind of answer it more or less. But dude, stick to the basics, get good. And honestly, I think everybody is so fucking content pilled right now. That's another problem, is that I think kids are probably spending too much time watching skate videos, watching videos about skate videos, and not doing enough actual skateboarding. Like people's opinions are being molded and informed before they've even kind of had a chance to explore what their personal skill set might even be on a board. So I think there's probably too much content consumption around skating. Have you thought about doing a more general fashion video, not just skate fashion? Can we get Lorenzo involved? Jesus Christ. Yes. Let's get Lorenzo involved. I once did a video with that fashion lover dude, but I could have been having a bro moment, or I just didn't think it was that good. We just didn't really synergize, so I never put that out. You would consider last resorts to be comfortable, right? I would consider myself to be a medium to narrow-footed individual, but the toe box is incredibly narrow. Do you have any discomfort when you skate in them? Any insight? Thank you. Try the 0.3s if you've got a narrower foot. And I'd probably go with like the suede 0.3s are a bit wider. So if those work for you, then those will probably be your best bet in terms of getting a girthier shoe. But I think they're pretty comfortable. I would imagine they're not as comfortable as New Balances, obviously. But like I said, I've been skating the same shit for a while. Thoughts on Aaron Kyra becoming the president or whatever of San Francisco Scientology? I mean, Aaron Kyra is just a piece of shit. He's a slime ball. I saw in the Discord, maybe I can pull it up, a screenshot that was just unbelievable of how big of a cunt this guy is. It was somebody leaving a comment saying, hey, why don't you pay your employees more? Let's see if I can find it. It's hitting me with a League of Legends advertisement right now. Here it is. It says, pay your employees more, ? And Braille says, did someone say we didn't pay them well? $50 for an hour for lessons and $20 for an hour to ride skateboards and have fun? Is that low? So, basically minimum wage in California is about to be $20. So he's talking about $20 to ride around on your skateboard and have fun. It's like, dude, these Braille dudes aren't having fun. None of these guys are like having a hard time working for you, putting out videos day in and day out, and they're carrying your company while you collect all the money, while they do pretty much the promotion for your Walmart toys, and Braille Army Plus Premium app. So, and it's all going to Scientology. So he's basically got a borderline slave labor workforce, propping up what's left of his YouTube channel. And that's such like a boss, exploitative, asshole, landlord style way of putting it. Like $20 to ride on skateboards and have fun. It's like, that's not what they do though, is it? It's not like a filming team comes in and just films these guys and then that's it. And it's like, it's also minimum wage. And they live it's in San Francisco, which is expensive as fuck, on one of the most expensive places to live in the world. And they're on minimum wage, and they have to make these videos too. It's not like they just skate in the videos. These guys are the ones making the videos, fucking putting out the content, coming up with the ideas day in and day out. So yeah, I would say it's pretty low, especially, given the amount of people over, I don't know, like a month-long period that will watch this shit. Working minimum wage to have that many people kind of look at you, even though it's low-stakes, horseshit, like crap kid content, that's too low. Do you wish you had more flexibility to take paid jobs in the industry, doing commentary at a Vans event without feeling like you'd be undermining your position of impartiality? Not really. Like, a lot of stuff in skateboarding too. The other thing, it's not like I would be going in there with a bunch of professionals. Do you know what I mean? There's a lot of these events, like the one that I said no to, the Vans event. Like, I'm fucking glad I didn't do that event. Holy shit, for the impartiality reasons, but also just like the webcast just seemed shitty, and it would have been weird. And I don't think I would have enjoyed it, and I don't think it probably would have worked. So who knows later down the line. My dad, it was funny, I talked to him. He watched YSL and he really liked it. He was like juiced on me being a host for stuff. And I thought I did an okay job for YSL. I thought I did pretty good, but I think I can definitely do better. But he was like, oh, you should do the Olympics and look into, hosting other stuff. And that's honestly kind of more appealing. Not that I really want to like turn my back on skateboarding and like abandon it to do other things necessarily, even if I have the potential to do that. I don't know if I want to do that. But right now, I don't think so. Maybe when I get a little bit older. But yeah, skateboarding does kind of need some realness in the commentary department. I don't think there's any question about that. Because, it's great when you watch other sports like, and I think this is a big American problem, because if you watch soccer and you watch a Premier League broadcast and the commentators are excellent. They're like amazing at their job. They're very articulate, and they can describe exactly what's going on in an entertaining and detailed fashion. But at the same time, they aren't playing characters about who they are. They're kind of being frank about what is happening. They're saying what's on their mind, and there's not this like wall or aura of bullshit or theatricality and sycophantic like American shit to it. I don't know how this culture even kind of started in commentary, but if you watch American commentators too, everything is great, everything is awesome. You always kind of get a sense that these people are like operating like they're sort of playing like half-court basketball. There's a whole side to describing what's happening that they won't delve into, and it sucks. It sucks to listen to. And skateboarding really, really, really has that. You're encouraged to not point out, why somebody might have a lower score, and it puts you in sort of a paralyzed position because it's like, all right, well, why does crook nollie flip get a lower score? It's such an amazing trick, and it's like, well, because the judges have seen it 1,000 times, and you can't really say either one of those things. Like, nobody's being honest about what's happening because you can't question the judges and you can't question the skateboarders. So what are you left with? It's kind of like listening to the Nine Club a little bit. These guys are just sitting around kind of like having sort of a conversation. They're sort of having half of a conversation, but they're never getting at anything actually real. So it's very taxing. Okay, Orange County fan here. What's with all the hate about OC versus LA? You sound like a fascist. OC is clean, very safe, manageable traffic, plenty of parking wherever you go. Great because beaches aren't out of control, racially diverse. Kinda. We don't really have any blacks in Orange County, actually. As someone who now lives in Seattle, I feel like OC is such a less stressful place overall and a lot easier on my anxiousness. Is the appeal of LA really just that it's dirtier and crustier and more skaters aside, that's the place to be? Why does crust and crowds automatically equal more culture and cooler? The same goes for New York. Most young people identify as having anxiety, but everyone wants to live. The most anxiety-inducing place is too stressful for my white ass. Orange County is less cool than LA. I mean, there's no culture really here. And that's fine. It's kind of like an old person retirement setup. I do agree, like, it's not that stressful. That's why I moved back here. But the flip side of that is it's pretty monotonous, I would say. It's kind of like a beige purgatory prison type of situation, and that's can be good for some time, but I get frustrated living here, and it's only been a few months. So I mean, LA is cooler. There's more shit to do. There's cool people that live there. There's tons of cool restaurants. There's way more spots, And in terms of skating, it's like, obviously skaters are going to want to live in dope places, and the spots look way better in LA. Like, everything about LA is kind of cooler than Orange County. The beaches in Orange County are really nice. I'm not a big beach dude, but yeah, the beaches here kick LA's beaches ass. That's for certain. But yeah, the spots are better in LA. It looks better to film. Orange County is a pretty gross looking place to film skateboarding. It's just like there's a lot of really cleanly cut green grass and then red curbs and black asphalt, and the aesthetic is kind of like this weird blocky, ugly looking primary color thing. There's not like, yeah, the foliage is kind of unnatural here, and everything's very well kempt. Okay, what's your fucking problem? I don't know. I think it was my parents getting divorced, and I guess I don't think I was ever mentally strong enough to recover. Okay, Dorian Electra, yay or nay? Z called you out on the music, and now the pick seems potentially ironic, question mark. It was never ironic. Everybody was saying my whole video part was ironic, which was frustrating to me because it wasn't. Yeah, G called me out, but I mean, I'm going to be honest, like, I like XIII, but I wouldn't kind of take his advice about what music to skate to or what tricks to put in my part. I don't think that he has really like developed a nuanced opinion about like the current landscape of skateboarding or anything like that. I think he's a fun guy to watch, but from like a legitimate, commentary and opinion perspective on what's like happening right now, like, I think that looking at him and be like, oh, this music's trash. It's like, I like that song, and I probably wouldn't use it now. Like I used it then, and I was being edgy or whatever, but it was never ironic. And I don't regret using it either. It's not like I put that out and I was like, fuck, I should have used something else. Like, no, I don't care. The people that liked it really liked it. Okay, what do you think about this more critiquing / reacting side of skateboarding YouTube that has started to grow since you came around? Dumb Data, Brian Arnett reactions, etc. Do you think there's room for other people to do what you do? Yeah, I mean, if anybody is good at it, then sure. But frankly, so far, all I've really seen in the like skate analysis space is a bunch of like ABD shit by people that don't really understand skateboarding that well. Joa, a girl I like has intense mental issues and extreme BPD. She likes me too, and I haven't had a girlfriend in 4 years. What's the play? Fuck it. Who gives a fuck? Let her ruin your life.
All right, man. Fuck, bruh. Fuck it, dog. At this point, there are specific skills and qualifications needed to go actual pro. And we know you can't hold a grind for long, hate drops, and terrified of transition. But hypothetically or realistically, that was not a very generous summary of my skateboarding. What would convince or motivate you to actually work up to those standards for that achievement? Not trying to be annoying or anything like that. Just curious. And I have some hope in you. Love, Dan. Thanks, Dan. There's no fucking incentive for me to do it, man. I mean, let's be honest. No matter how hard I work or practice, I'll never have Toby Ryan's fucking talent. So what's the point? I'm already 27. It's over. Okay, why does Real get a pass for being Walmart level bland / boring just because well-regarded people run the company? I think Real is like, kind of the point of Real is, and I think it was me that's called the Walmart graphics, but the point of Real is not like artistic direction. It's supposed to be like large distribution with a really solid team, and because their graphics are like kind of stupid, Real keeps it real and doesn't try to be anything complicated. And so I'm definitely open to harassing and mocking them, humiliating them for the shitty graphics that they produce. But I also understand it and don't really care, or blame them for running the company the way that they do. How do you plan on moving forward with making content as you get to know more people in the industry? I've heard that oftentimes your friends get put in awkward positions because they're friends with people you make fun of. I've heard people say stuff like, I wish you'd just stick to making Street League videos and leave the core community alone. Personally, I think that your presence puts a healthy pressure on core skateboarding to be self-critical and continue to put out new and interesting content, though I also could imagine it's difficult to navigate friendships with other AM and pro skaters while doing so. Do you think you might move towards making videos focused on mainstream stable entities like Primitive, Street League, April, Thrasher, etc., or are you kind of set on continuing to cover whatever you see fit to criticize? I mean, I'd rather not be friends with any pros than to not talk about core skating. A lot of people in core skating just don't want to fucking do anything. Like the fact that it's even a debate that Kevin Bradley, is or is not doing his fucking job. I don't give a fuck. I would easily, quit sci-fi and block Ryan Lay's phone number if I meant that I could keep talking about whatever I want. That's like my purpose. I'm not in this shit to shake hands and, kiss babies or whatever, and try to be cool with everybody. It's just not what I'm designed to do. I'm skirting the line somewhat as it is, keeping pretty to myself most of the time. And sure, I know a couple of people, but, for these people, like, I'm sure I wish he'd just make videos about Street League or something. It's like, dude, you guys are pussies. Core skaters are always like, oh, don't criticize me. Like, don't talk about what I'm doing. Just talk about what Gustavo Ribeiro's doing all the time because he's an easy target. And it takes pressure off me. Like, why don't you guys fucking try doing your jobs properly and I'll shut the fuck up for a bit, or I'll give you props. Do you know what I mean? Like Nora is such a fucking beta, dude. Like just for years now has held that grudge because she couldn't handle any criticism. You know, core skaters get put in these fucking echo chambers with yes men who fucking hype up every single thing that they do. It's whack. And so when somebody comes in and gives a different kind of opinion, they crumble and they want me to focus on, Nyjah all the time. I'm not going to focus on Nyjah all the time. You know, Nyjah gets enough attention. And unlike fucking Nora, Nyjah can, he can take some criticism. I have no respect for these core skaters that whine, and moan when somebody points out a flaw in what they're doing. What is some advice you give to the Groms about making an actual good video? Yeah, or like I was saying earlier, just too much. Kids are intaking too much content. They're ingesting way too much shit. And they need to get off their phones and get off the computer and put the iPad down for a while and actually just go out and skateboard and make something that is like, relatively organic, that isn't just a combination of, the last 80 skate videos that got fucking neural link beamed right into their brains. So, yeah. Don't use emo music and zoom out a bit. That's really the gist of it. Okay, tell Big Jerry to consider some 8.5 or bigger boards with shorter than 14.5. I'll tell him, but I don't think he's going to do it. Jerry doesn't really care about boards like that. He skates fucking classic Spitfire wheels. He doesn't even skate Formula 4s. To whom do you credit your critical thinking skills? I'm a middle school teacher, and I try to get my students to use logical skills like corroborating sources, bias detection, and using evidence to back up a claim. I've always noticed that you are good at looking at things from a logical and unbiased point of view. Just wondering, thanks. I think it's because my parents it's probably mostly my dad, and because he's English, I believe, and they have I think culturally they just have a much larger emphasis on keeping it real. In the United States, it's not that fucking facts based. There's a lot of people over here who say shit like, well, speak your truth, and well, this is just what I believe, and a lot of crap like that. And it's like providing excuses for yourself to be dumb. And some of my friends I've witnessed kind of go a little bit, into the right side of the political spectrum, and they're still my friends and shit. But a lot of them will talk like that. And, the people on the left do that shit too, where they turn their brains off to kind of just enforce whatever things they want to be true. I always feel bad. Like, even if I'm on stream and I said something that I didn't really believe, most of the time, I think later on I'll feel bad about it, and the next stream I'll be like, "Yeah, fuck it, I'm not saying that anymore." But yeah, I think mostly I get it from my dad because he's British. Who's my favorite character in the TikTok Riz party lore? Riz is named Turkish Quandale. How long did it take you to get good at skating? I've been skating for 5.5 years, and I'm noticing I'm improving at a faster rate than I used to. I hope so. Yeah, that's good. I mean, you should I don't think your skill progression on a skateboard is typically going to be that linear. I think it's kind of hard for a while as you break down walls and learn basic shit, ollie, kickflip, pop, shove it. There's a bunch of you learn some grind tricks on ledges, and then maybe you try rail skating. You learn how to skate drops, and then there's transition. There's a lot of shit to initially learn. And then once you have a decent foundation in all of that stuff, you should experience some kind of exponential skill progression. So it sounds like that's kind of the area that you're in right now. And yeah, just keep going, dude. How long did it take me to get good? I don't know. I think I was kind of good for maybe for a 12-year-old, and then I think I wasn't that good for a 13 to a 15-year-old, and then I think I kind of got good for a 16-year-old. I was pretty good. I was skating drops and flipping my board and doing long grinds and shit, but I had no style. And then, yeah, once you get into your 20s, you sort of level out and maybe find a bit more of a personality. Not that I know how old you are, but that's what happened to me. So how long did it take me to get good? I would say it took me to get actually good at skating to where I had somewhat of my own identity and personal flair to my skating. It took me probably fucking 16 years. Okay, well, I think that's it. Thanks, guys. Fuck my ass.